So today I'm going to show you how to make a centerpiece stand for your air-filled decorations that I've done in the past. This will not be using the Lumi pole, so it's a much cheaper alternative, and I'm going to be selling some of the pieces on the website as well, so that way you can at least have one place to get them. So we're going to use a 20-inch maxi stick, a maxi base, and this is just a 6x6 inch tile I got from Home Depot for I think $1.50. It may have been a little cheaper than that, but you can just get them at your home improvement store, whether it's Home Depot or Lowe's. These I will not be selling because they are a little heavier, so they'll cost a ton to ship, and they will most likely break due to the fact that they are tile. So we are going to start off by, you'll have to bear with me, I'm still getting over being sick. We are going to start off by putting the maxi stick into the base. Now it's a pretty good fit, so you can just push it on. However, whenever I'm doing something like centerpieces for a job and I want to make sure that they're going to hold up really well, I like to always put some kind of an adhesive. So on this one, I just took a really small strip of balloon bond. I mean, it is like half the width of my fingernail. And you just peel it off. You can attach it to the inside of your stick. And then just make sure, because the way that these are set up is they have a thing, let me see if you can see it, on the inside right there. You can see it kind of sticking out, and so it has kind of like a Phillips head, so there's 4 corners, and just make sure that the balloon bond attaches to one of those corners, and then you just slide it down and it's on pretty easy. Now to attach it to the tile, I don't put it on the top glossy part because it'll peel off. I actually attach it to the bottom. You can see the ridges, and the surface is not a smooth surface. I also do not put it exactly in the center, because on this specific one, the bumps, you can see how when you match it up, it has a hard time actually sticking due to this line and this line. So it's going to be slightly taller. So the first thing I do is I have a piece of balloon bond a little wider than my finger. And then we're also going to have another piece that's going to be about 2 fingertips wide. The smaller one, I personally like to rub it a little bit to get it warm, because adhesive's always better when it's warmer. And then you peel off the backing, stick it on, and then peel off the front part. And then once that's on there, I take the bigger piece and I'm going to fold it in half to make a thicker piece of adhesive. And then peel the paper off of one side, stick that part on, and peel it off completely. And now I'm going to go a little bit higher than the center. So it's actually on the second line. If you can see that, that's where the top is on the second. So that way it's hitting the ridges, but it's also sticking down here on this part. And I'm just going to push it on and then twist it a little bit, make sure it's good and on there. And then you see it, well, you can hold the whole thing and it stays on. So that is your base. You can use it just like this. However, I'm also going to show you a way to cover it. So for covering it, you will need a 5-inch uninflated balloon, a 260, and what I did is I only put about a 1-inch bubble and then tied off the ends. I gave it a really good sized neck, and then a 10 by 10 inch. This is just one of those plastic dollar table covers. You can use whatever. Also, another thing is, if you want, you can put some packing tape on the corners. That will just help if it has any really sharp edges. This one, they're not extremely sharp, but some of them are based on the cut. And so this way it keeps it from hitting the balloon when you're putting them on and popping the balloon. So once you've taped your edges, if you're going to do that, then you can take your piece, your cover, your 10-inch by 10-inch cover, and I just find the center and then on the center I just cut a really small slit, and then I do the same thing for the opposite angle so that it makes a small X. So I just find the center of the slit I just cut, and I make another small cut. So you slide it down, and then I've got some packing tape. And then I just fold it over like you're wrapping a gift. So now you can see your base is covered. And you can do this in any color. I just picked black because one of the next video is going to be using this, and I want the whole thing to be done up in black. So next you're going to take your uninflated 5-inch balloon, and you can just slide it down so that it sits right there. And the reason I do this, even if you're not going to wrap this part, I will always put one of these on here. And it's because, one, if for some reason this has some kind of sharpness based on how it was cut, this will help protect your balloons, whichever ones are sitting up here, from popping. Also, it allows your balloons that you put on the top that you'll twist around when you're doing your quads to grip really well so they're not sliding on the pole. So now I'm going to take the 260 that's tied off, and I'm just going to tie it on, and I'm tying it onto the neck of the 5-inch. And so you're going to wrap, I want to make sure this is all completely covered first, but you're going to wrap at a downward angle. Try to do this so you guys can see it. And what it's doing is it's just continuously pushing the bubble down the balloon, and you're getting a really nice tight wrap. And when you haven't done this, it may be easier for you to keep a finger on it at all times behind it and use both your hands, just because if your hand slips off of it, it's going to spiral all the way back up and you're going to have to start all over again. But you want to make sure you're pushing it downwards while you're doing this, so that way you're not just wrapping in the same spot over and over again. And I go all the way to the bottom and then go around a few times, and then I'm going to cut the very tip. And then I will take my 2 fingers and I'm going to tie it off. Alright, so I have it pushed through. And it's tied on there, so it's not going to come off. And I'm not going to cut it all the way to the balloon, because you don't want it to be so close that it unravels itself. So the end that I snipped off right here is the only part I'm going to cut off. Because once you attach the balloons, you're not going to see it anyways. But now you have your stand for your table decorations, and it is completely covered